I've changed my mind. I am a little rusty, being chair. It's a good thing it's a short agenda today. There is an announcement and there is a consent agenda. Funny that. These are the results of the closed session that we had last week. Pursuant to Government Code 54957.6, a conference with labor negotiators resulting in no action taken. We had an addendum, a closed session with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, existing litigation, 2 cases, Nemi versus the County of Calaveras, case 35775, an Oakdale Irrigation District and South San Joaquin Irrigation District versus the county, case 35081, resulting in no action taken. It doesn't mean we didn't talk in closed session, we just didn't get, there was no action. Okay, I'll move to the consent agenda. Is there any member of the public or staff or board who would like to pull a consent agenda item? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes on a 401. Supervisor Thomas will not be with us today. Okay, you can still continue talking. Is that right, board? Have I done okay? I've done okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Krilitich. It's not 9:10. I do not take public comments.
No,
What?
you went so fast on that, you were going to pull something for it that we had.
Oh my gosh! And I even didn't need him.
Could we do a take back?
You know what?
Or can we just talk about it
It's-
public comment?
Okay, we can do that since I said you can continue talking.
We need about 3 minutes to get a grip anyway. So.
Oh, Michael, thank you. What? To extend the morning so you get a good return on your investment of our time. I'd like to move to item 3 that we approved, which was designating July 1925 as Probation, Parole, and Community Supervision Week.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Terry Hall, Assistant Chief Probation Officer. Would like for the board to notice that July 19th through July 25th is National Probation, Parole, and Community Community Supervision Week. This was established by the American Probation and Parole Association in 1999. And just want to let you know that the Probation Department serves the community in many ways. In the last year, we've been responsible for monitoring approximately 1,000 probationers, adult and juvenile. We've implemented some good practices around our department. We have evidence-based practices that include motivational interviewing, risk needs assessments, and we have a new weekly Courage to Change program that we have probationers come in, and this is to help them assist them in learning life skills. The Probation Department promotes education, employment, and accountability, recovery, understanding community, housing, and health. And we just want to take this opportunity to thank probation officers and the staff for their work in reducing recidivism in our community.
Terry, thank you. On behalf of the board, we thank you too, and we are really proud of the work the probation office is doing and trying new programs and bringing programs to the public.
Yes, it's been a challenge, but I think with our staff, we have a good staff that promotes it, and we're all on board with it.
And I have Juvenile Justice Commission this week too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and please thank your staff.
I will. Thank you.
For the record, item 7 is being postponed till next week, and item 8 is being postponed till Supervisor Tuffanelli puts it back on the agenda. Okay. I'd like to move to public comments. If anyone has an item they'd like to discuss, not on the agenda.
I think we better order lunch.
Hi.
Hi.
Krista Thompson, Behavioral Health Services, and I have a few announcements. I will be as brief as possible. I know you have so much to cover today. First of all, I just wanted to say I'm just an honor to work with probation, and I'm so glad it's being recognized this week. So I think we're very fortunate to have Mike and Terry working in our county, and it's just been a pleasure working with them in behavioral health. That said, my announcements are we have, thanks at Behavioral Health, thanks to Prevention and Early Intervention funding from the Mental Health Services Act, are pleased to announce a request for proposals to coordinate a new model of parenting support called Triple P, which stands for Positive Parenting Program. After an extensive community planning process, Behavioral Health Services identified at-risk children and stressed families as a priority for funding. The department used input from the community to analyze several research-based programs to support families. The clear choice was Triple P. This is a multi-level approach to support the varying needs of parents who are struggling with the emotional and behavioral problems of their children. Not all parents need the same level of support or will turn to the same source of support. Consequently, the Triple P program trains a variety of community providers to offer support at varying levels of intensity, from 10-minute interventions to parenting classes to family counseling. Behavioral Services is seeking agencies with a mission towards serving children and families to implement Triple P in Calaveras County. The department is requesting proposals that include program oversight, provider recruitment, training coordination, parenting education, counseling, fund management, a referral line, and countywide marketing. For an electronic copy of the RFP, please visit calaveras.networkofcare.org or the county homepage. You can always contact me as well, and my direct line is 209-754-2810. So that's the first one. The second one is that our Mental Health Advisory Board is seeking new members. So we're very excited about that. This is a wonderful opportunity. The Mental Health Advisory Board has continued to provide behavioral health services with valuable direction for many years. And in order to ensure fresh and diverse perspectives, the board is extending an invitation to new members, and anyone interested can contact me as well. Again, 754-2810.
Is there a requirement, like you're looking for you're looking for people who have family members? Or
that would be ideal. Anyone with lived experience, either personally or in their family, or anyone who has had mental illness touched their lives in a significant way and would like to see mental health services in our community improved is more than encouraged to apply and to contact our department.
Okay, thank you.
Our last announcement is that we are offering a free community suicide prevention training here in San Andreas, and this will be at the Senior Center. We're offering 2 during the day and in the evening. The daytime training will be Friday, August 14th from 2 to 3:30, and the evening training will be Thursday, August 20th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We've extended the RSVP to the end of the month. Space is limited, so we're asking anyone interested to contact Jenna Molnar at 209-754-6781. And this is a really wonderful training. We're using a new training format for our suicide prevention training throughout the community. If there are any departments out there or any agencies that would like an individualized training, they can also contact me and we can arrange for that. And questions can also be directed towards me. So I think that's all of my announcements. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Is this similar to the program done in Tuolumne?
They are doing something similar, and theirs is they've been doing this for about 10 years, so theirs is a little bit more extensive than ours, but we have ramped up quite quickly, considering that we've only been doing this for about 6 months now, and our Live On program is unique. We've been using our Live On bracelets, which have the county hotline number and the Live On slogan on them, and those have spread throughout the county very quickly, and they've been a great way to get the hotline number out there. We started in the high schools, and it just went from there. So now everyone being discharged from the hospital who appears to be at risk for suicide is receiving a bracelet, and anyone in crisis receives a bracelet, so that they always have that number on hand. And so we're now coupling that program with this training that is just 3 simple steps to prevent suicide.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name's Bonnie Newman. I'm from Double Springs, and once again, I didn't come to complain today because in taking everything into consideration, it doesn't matter if I get a raise. It doesn't matter if my wages get cut. I'm not a 20-year-old kid sitting in a Taliban prison camp wondering if I'm going to get home. Thank God I'm in America. It breaks my heart to think of that kid over there wondering if he's ever going to come home. And I sat at home thinking, wah, wah, wah. All I do is complain. So I have a couple announcements, too, that are pretty positive. My trees. I made an appointment with the head of the road crew today to come down to Double Springs. I'm going to talk about it, and if we have a resolution, I'm going to have some happy news to come back with you, come back to you with. And the other thing is that Roger's home. He's ready to go back down to Lodi to his daily daycare program. Unfortunately, we don't have one here in Calaveras, so that means I'm driving him to Lodi twice a day. But I've already got one passenger, so twice a day, if anybody needs a ride to Stockton or Lodi, Double Springs, Stockton, Lodi Express. We have one seat going down, 3 seats coming back. 3 seats going down, 1 seat going back. Just about every day but Wednesday. So maybe someday I'll be able to get a subsidy somehow to just keep myself doing this. But that's my other happy announcement. And then I have another topic, but I'm going to let someone else speak. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Any questions about my transportation route?
No, thank you very much.
No, but you should know that all the trees you delivered to the board are alive and well and being cared for.
They'll live all the way up to Arnold.
Yep.
I mean, you know, every zone in the county. Thank you.
Hello, board, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taft Metters, owner of the Collect Fine Food Corporation. I'm a resident of Calaveras County, been for the past 6.5 years. I've submitted plans and proposals to the county to operate a food facility here to feed the government center, and we're still waiting for a little decision, which I hope can be very positive. I snuck up on you gentlemen today because it's really hard to catch up with you guys all together. So I'm here today to seek a decision for the proposed food service facility here on the government grounds.
The board cannot make a decision on a non-agenda item, but I will have Mr. Lawton, the CAO, contact you and review your proposal. And
Do you have his number?
and so, yes,
We'll
Tom.
bring
so-
it back to the board and let
Yeah,
you know.
and we can bring it back to the board and discuss the options. I have read it also. So Mr. Lawton will be getting in touch with you.
Okay, I appreciate that, and it's a pleasure once again meeting you guys, and I hope to look forward to seeing you guys in the future on a positive decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a comment they'd like to make? Otherwise, Bonnie's going to come up. Okay.
Today I'd like to talk about the center of the universe, Double Springs Road. Oh, that's just my universe. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart. I've been digging on Double Springs for a while, and I'm coming up with some artifacts that are really interesting, which makes me think of an article I saw in the newspaper where Wally Locke is looking for stuff from Double Springs. Well, he wants printed stuff, documentation that has maybe a postmark or a reference, and I don't have any of that stuff on my property, but I've heard a story of the history of Double Springs that you probably never heard before, and you may not hear it again. It might be true and it might not be true, and I've only heard it twice myself. Once, when I very first got here in '74, Carol Gates' grandma told me about the springs where the Indians used to come to get healed. And then about 10 years ago, Norma Churchill, before she passed, she told me about 2 times she heard this story, and I can't help but think one of them was probably from Sadie Hunt. But anyway, Double Springs wasn't the springs. This is 1799. Okay, this is before the white man came. And the roads to Double Springs were footpaths, Indian trails, because the Indians used to come to the springs. It was called the Springs because all up and down Double Springs there are springs, multiple springs, not 2, many springs. And when the white man came, they followed the same footpaths, and that's Highway 12 and Highway 26. And they meet in Valley Springs, and they come up the road, and they used to go down Double Springs, but now they go the highway. When they came to Double Springs, all the way from San Francisco and Stockton and everywhere, it's all flat. You know, you can pretty much get your wagon up to that point, and then until you get to Double Springs, then you start hitting the grade. Because if you have a wagon, you got a team. And if you want that team to make the grade and survive, you got to double up the team. So if you got horses or mules or oxen, just about at Double Springs, you had to double up your team. So you used to double up at the springs. No matter where you were coming with your equipment, you had to double up at the springs, and pretty soon it got called Double Springs. So, and that was before, that was right before the big gold rush time. So that's a history I wanted to share with you that you might not have heard before. And I'm sure Wally hasn't, and it's not written anywhere, and I've read all kinds of stuff about Double Springs, but it makes sense to me. So you decide if it's true or not. I kind of have a feeling Double Springs was there a long time. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you for the history lesson, Ms. Smith. Okay. No one else then has an item. I'd like to move to item 5 on the agenda, a discussion and possible action acting as the public authority, approve a wage increase.
Good morning. Colleen Reeves, Public Authority Manager. There's going to be a slight change to my request this morning. We do not need the Board of Supervisors to pass a resolution. There is a resolution that is still effective that was passed April 22nd, 2008, that provided for the increase to $10 per hour effective July 1st, 09. There's an awful lot going on at the state, and a lot of it's very confusing. In the board packet that I presented to you, I gave you kind of a history of what's been going on, and I'm going to briefly go through that. On April 2nd is when the Department of Social Services announced that the state participation in wages was going to be reduced to $9.50. On May 26th, this board passed the resolution to reduce the wages in keeping with the state's reduction in wages. On June 26th, an injunction was issued, and that prohibited the state from reducing the wages. The state filed an appeal on June 30th, and they are scheduled to go to court on July 27th, and response briefs are due on August 24th and September 7th. So we're going to be in a state of flux, so to speak, until probably September 7th. On July 13th, the original injunction that was issued on June 26th was amended, and it required that the state take action by the following day, close of business, to notify counties that wages and benefits would be increased and taken back to $12.10 per hour. On July 14th, I received a letter regarding the amended preliminary injunction, and the state is still hoping at some point that they are going to be able to reduce wages, but for right now they have to follow the direction of the state and DSS. So effective yesterday, what happened is the state was required to send notice to the county saying that wages at the pre-July 1st amount had to be reinstated. So payroll for IHSS yesterday completed that task. Wages are now at $9.75. We're waiting for approval from the state for the $10 per hour increase, and that was part of the MOU that was signed in 2007. The state has not responded. We sent a letter and a formal rate change request on July 7th. Since that time, I have been in touch with, well, they're very difficult to get a hold of via phone. There's an awful lot going on there. So I have sent emails. I've done overnight letters. The most recent was yesterday. They would receive it today. We're waiting to find out when they're going to approve the $10 rate. The other side of that is that if their appeal is successful, then we know their intention is to reduce wages again. So part of the letter I sent them yesterday was to say, if you do this, we are looking for protections for the county, and we're looking for an adequate amount of time to submit, if we have to, a wage reduction that they will process in a timely manner so that there's no additional cost to the county. You know, our primary concern here, there's a couple of things. We want to be cognizant of where the county is financially and the state, but we also have an obligation to the providers and consumers. So right now we do have an MOU that does require an increase to $10. So right now we're waiting to hear what's going to happen. Let's see, what else? I guess at this point, I'd like to have some direction from the board letting me know your thoughts about where you will stand if the state once again reverts back to a reduction, if we're at $10 per hour.
Reverts back or goes forward to 10?
No. We are required right now to go forward to 10. I'm waiting for state approval. And as soon as that happens, the $10 per hour wage will go into effect. But if the state's appeal is successful, they will once again want to reduce wages.
And your question then is?
The question is just letting the board know and wondering if you have a comment as to your position if the state reduces wages.
I think this is a budget issue, and it needs to be discussed. At that time, we don't want to pull things out unless Mr. Lawton chooses to do it. Colleen, this is all wrapped up, and we've already approved the preliminary, and it sounds like we will be moving to final budget hopefully in the next week or two or 2 months or whenever.
Right.
But I will ask the board if they have any comments or questions of Colleen at this point.
Well, myself, unless there's a compelling reason not to, I don't see how the general fund can start backfilling state cuts. So I think what the board, the action the board took initially, I would anticipate would be the action the board would take again. And, you know, I don't think we have a lot of choice in that matter.
Okay. Well, I will stay tuned, of course, and when is necessary, we'll be back to the board. But for right now, we are optimistic that the state will approve shortly the $10 per hour wage, and we'll be able to move forward on that.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
I'll reiterate my original position, which is unchanged and regardless of the litigation, which is that when people are being paid $9.50, $9.75 without benefits, when their charge is to take care of people least able to live independently without that care, that cutting those wages and saving for 250 some people to save $15,000 a year by cutting a quarter out of their pay seems unconscionable, and it remains so in my mind.
And we have that opportunity to subsidize it when we do final budget.
Well, and I can tell that we won't all be of the same
That's
mind,
okay.
but it will be a good discussion.
That's fine. Mr. Tuffanelli, do you have anything,
Jim,
comments?
is she correct that we don't need to do anything, even though we passed the resolution?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
As I follow the complex procedure here, I think I agree that you don't need to take any action.
We don't need to. Okay, Colleen, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And any information that you get, could you just relay it to Mr. Lawton?
Yes.
Thanks very
Thanks.
much. Does any member of the public have any comments they'd like to make on this? Okay, thank you. I'd like to move to the next item. Item 6, introduction of an ordinance creating the Assessment Appeals Board. This was a split item vote. But, hey, it's okay.
Madam
Please.
Chair, honorable members of the board, I'm Leslie Davis, your acting assessor. I have before you the first reading of the ordinance that authorizes creation of an assessment appeals board. You'll remember in May we brought this item before you for discussion on a 3-2 vote. The board chose to move ahead with the creation of an assessment appeals board that would sunset in 2 years. Again, this is the first reading of the ordinance. Next week, we intend to bring the ordinance back to you, as well as a resolution that sets the compensation and that establishes the appointment of the members and how those members' terms are chosen consistent with state law. It's not part of this ordinance because most of it is codified already in state law. Be happy to answer any question you've got.
Are there any questions for Leslie?
One here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that part of what is codified in state law and not before us today is the actual skill set, background, and I guess qualifications for membership on this board.
That's correct.
And so that will come next week.
No.
But you'll.
That would be redundant to come back before the board. State law says that in order to qualify to be on the Assessment Appeals Board, you have to be an appraiser with 5 years' experience and either be certified by OREA, certified by the State Board of Equalization, and then there's one other, have a designation from a nationally recognized organization. You need to be an accountant, an attorney, or a real estate professional. And then there's the little catch-all that if the board doesn't find those folks, they can appoint who they want. The board also has the authority in making the appointment to appoint 2 of its own members who have served on a local board of equalization to the Assessment Appeals Board. That is codified. So it's not coming back before this board.
Any other questions from the board? Well, I had one. I had a couple for Leslie. One was the duration, and we've put a sunset on it of 2 years. So, and even though the state says, 3 years, Leslie? Oh.
The state says that the appeals board members serve a 3-year staggered term.
Right.
The initial appointment is such that the first person you appoint is 3 years, the second person is 2 years, the third person is 1 year, so the fourth person is 3 years, and the fifth person is 2 years, so they have staggered terms. But in May, when the board voted that they wanted to create the Assessment Appeals Board, you also said that you wanted to sunset it in 2 years. So this ordinance is written to provide for that. And the county council added some verbiage at the end that allows the board to decide to extend the Assessment Appeals Board within 30 days of that sunset date.
All right. And the reason I had asked the question is we just made a change in all our committee assignments to 1 year unless it was codified in other places outside of Calaveras County. So we have to be very careful when we make the appointments. We're going to be making them for 2 years. We don't have the luxury of doing yearly.
Yes, this is established by state law. It also provides that the appointments begin the first Monday in September.
Okay, so we want to rock on this one. And the other one I had was on mileage. The appeals board shall be reimbursed for mileage. And my concern is that we really don't do that for other, like the planning commission, unless they're leaving the county to go to a planning commission event. And I just wanted to make sure that, if we do this, we're going to be opening up.
We shouldn't do mileage for in-county.
The reason I wrote it this way, as I wrote to you via email, you have different wording in each of the code sections dealing with your various boards and commissions. For example, in your Fish and Game Commission ordinance, it says they get paid mileage from their house to the meeting. So the reason it's written this way, with the addition of as provided for regular county employees only get mileage if they're going out of county on business. So that's why it's written that way. But you can certainly suggest a change in the wording.
We're going to change Fish and Game. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. If there's anything, Jim, that this could be misinterpreted. So if somebody goes from their home to an assessment appeals meeting, they do not get mileage, but they will be getting.
I mean, that's what the daily compensation is for.
Yeah, I don't think there's any ambiguity in that.
Okay, fine.
And I think that it's consistent with the board's policy of deferring to state law when it comes to different terms of office.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Leslie? Okay. Any questions for the public?
Joe Kelly. Is there a projected Assessment Appeals Board commencement date? The ordinance sunsets in 2 years. That discontinuance date would be the first Monday in September 2011, according to statute. With that, I don't know if it was brought up, those that are still in, shall I say, session, that have things pending before them, they can be held over until those are completed before you do a discontinuance of it. But one question is, why is there a sunset clause? There's a claim of no offsetting savings. Will costs be due to more hearings than the 10 hearing days per year, reducing the current 12-month wait by the applicant? Would savings overall be experienced if the appeals were cleared in a timely fashion? Scheduling an Assessment Appeals Board hearing for a full day should have substantial savings as compared to the County Board of Equalization. I would hope the Board of Supervisors would cease to sit as the County Board of Equalization and not sit as Assessment Appeal Board members. Your time is more importantly spent understanding and assisting your constituents with their problems. Will there be a public notice for Assessment Appeals Board applications? Will the Assessment Appeals Board follow the outline of Assessment Appeals hearing procedures as outlined by the State of California Board of Equalization? Will the Assessment Appeals Board allow the applicants to present valuation methods other than the comparative sales approach? The other methods are the cost approach and the income approach. Should the Board of Supervisors decide to continue as the Board of Equalization, when will the Board of Equalization allow the use of the cost approach and income approach? Madam Chair, why is this before you for your consideration? Transparency is necessary. I'm sure the citizens of Calaveras would like to know. The Board of Equalization should be diligent to not allow the reopening of a hearing after the applicant has left the building and the Board of Equalization has moved on to another agenda item. That's a Brown Act violation with a misdemeanor consequence. I hope there won't be any color of authority manipulations of the Assessment Appeals Board. Thank you for your time. I hope this did not come across as medieval torture.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. The board made the decision because of the volume of assessment appeals that have been coming before the board. As we meet as the Board of Equalization, we decided that it's been an on-again, off-again issue for many years. We've decided that we would try it, and we would try it for a 2-year period, which is why it is for a 2-year period. And then we will review it again in 2 years to see if we want to proceed with this or we want to go back to the Board of Supervisors sitting as the Board of Equalization. This was all done in a public meeting. I believe there were at least 2 meetings on the topic, and there's been many meetings on it. It's been brought up many times by the assessor over the years. In terms of protocol and how the Assessment Appeals Board works, the assessor's office is very strict, and of that we follow the Revenue and Taxation Code. If you wish that we do items, whether it's a cost method or the comparison method, I might not be using the right terms, and I'm sure the assessor can correct me this afternoon. They make sure we follow the Revenue and Taxation Code. So if that protocol is in the Revenue and Taxation Code, the Appeals Board will follow it. In terms of operating the Assessment Appeals Board, receiving pressure, as you used it under the authority of color, I can guarantee you that will not happen.
Just another point might be worth making is that the Appeals Board is not a Brown Act group. In fact, it's specifically authorized to deliberate in private. So the Brown Act doesn't apply to the Assessment Appeals Board.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments? If the board has none, I'll entertain a motion, waive reading.
I move that we waive reading and approve the introduction of an ordinance adding Chapter 46 to Title II of the Calaveras County Code.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. No.
Okay. Passes on a 3-1, 1 absent. Supervisor Tuffanelli opposes. Okay, thank you. Again, as I stated, item 7 is moved out 1 week. Item 8 is pulled to Supervisor Tuffanelli, puts it back on the agenda. I'd like to move to item 9. Who's ready? Supervisor Tryon, what are you going to be doing this week that you can share with us?
I have a commitment at 4 o'clock to join the City of Angels in the grand opening for the Highway 4 bypass. I think that's all I have this week.
And tomorrow we're at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, well, at 10 o'clock tomorrow is the Caltrans opening of the bypass, and I'll try to make that, although I have to take my wife to a doctor's appointment in Modesto at 8, so I don't know if I'll be back exactly by 10 or not.
I'll probably be finished by 10:15, so they can open it up. So
Well,
you might as well
I
take
guess I'll miss
Denise,
it.
might as well take her shopping while you're there. Just give her the gold card, Tom.
Well, let me borrow your gold card.
Will both of you please keep your sales tax dollars within the county?
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Lawton, duly noted and corrected. Tom, are you going to walk today? Are you going to bike ride or skateboard or what this afternoon?
I called MV Transportation. They're bringing up a transit bus, and they're going to take me up and back in the transit bus. I'll be the only passenger so that the bus driver won't feel overwhelmed, and it'll be a normal run.
Mr. Tryon? I knew I shouldn't have opened the door. Mr. Walensky.
But you're going to put your bike on the front, right?
Yeah, bike on the front.
Tomorrow, with Jim Branham from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy, we're going to tour the Buena Vista cogeneration plant, which is converting from lignite to woody biomass, and begin discussions of how we'll do some economic conversions in this county to forest stewardship, fire-safe clearance, and Native American site restoration, and provide the fuel for the cogen plant. A lot of jobs are at stake, and we're trying to encourage the owners of the plant to hire locally and make sure that we'll be beneficiaries of this process, not just in terms of providing fuel for generating the electricity for 15,000 homes, but also that we'll have sustainable jobs back in the forests and re-employ a lot of the people who have been laid off both recently and over the last 10 to 15 years. So there's a lot of hope in this, but we have the details to negotiate.
Lodi just instituted a hire local if they can. I mean, which was interesting. It's a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it, Steve?
That's the only board related.
Are you going to the ribbon? Oh, no, you
It's the
won't
same.
be there.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I won't be able to go to that. I'd like to be at the ribbon cutting, but
Are you going to go this afternoon and walk
yes, I'll be.
by her?
I
Good.
will walk.
Okay, you can
and
walk
and I'll
with me.
wave at Tom as he
As he
rides
goes by. Mr.
As it
Tuffanelli.
should be.
Well, I'll be at the bypass party tonight from 4 to 6. I'll be at the Caltrans bypass party tomorrow at 10. I will be installing the new officers for the Historical Society on Thursday evening at the Pickle Patch. And I will be, I guess that's it as far as board matters go. I will be at the American Cowboy dinner that they're putting on, the Chamber's putting on Saturday night. Tom, are you going to that?
I will be there.
You bringing your brand with you?
No, but I'll wear my cowboy boots.
All right.
And your hat.
Well, I'm bringing
I brought my brand last time. I'm not bringing it again.
a brand this time.
Budweiser?
My brand?
No, Raisin?
And
Okay,
I expect you to eat beef. I'm going to have cameras on you.
Well, they're cooking a special chicken dinner for myself. So.
Yeah, celebrating the American cowboy, all right.
I'll be, whenever we finish Board of Equalization today, also at the bypass, at the opening tomorrow, and Juvenile Justice Commission on Thursday. Mr. Lawton?
I yield to the distinguished county council.
I have nothing to report.
Okay,
Same as
Madeline.
Maddie. Same.
Okay, thank you very much. We are adjourned until next week, and we will be going into closed session.
Here or in
We can
council?
do it here.
Do it here.